Reba watched the easy camaraderie between them, the casual compliments, the shared laughter. It was exactly the kind of interaction that would fuel Brock's suspicions. Barbara Jean, oblivious to Reba's internal turmoil, continued to gush. Can you believe her? She did the impossible. She lost all that weight and kept these fat. She patted her chest proudly. Reba resisted the urge to roll her eyes. Phyllis, seriously. Okay, Jordan, Barbara Jean said, turning to him, her face beaming. Jordan, this is my friend, Reba. Jordan extended a hand, his grip firm and friendly. Hey, I'm Jordan. I'm Reba, she replied, shaking his hand, trying to gauge his intentions, to find any hint of impropriety. But his eyes were clear, his smile open. He seemed genuinely nice. Too nice. So, you gonna join us, Reba? Jordan asked, gesturing to the various torture devices masquerading as exercise equipment. Reba quickly shook her head. Oh, I don't know. I just think that me and my, fellows will just watch for a while. She patted her own chest, a sarcastic nod to Barbara Jean's earlier comment. Jordan chuckled, a pleasant, low sound. Well, Reba, you are not going to get into shape by just watching. You need to sweat a little. Yeah, but you guys gotta understand. It's been a while since I've been in a gym like this, and I don't think Reba began trying to articulate her discomfort. But Barbara Jean was already pulling her towards a mat. Hello here, Bob Jean. You really are getting limber. Remember when you couldn't put your leg over my head? Reba froze, her eyes wide as she watched Barbara Jean effortlessly lift her leg, placing her foot on Jordan's shoulder. Jordan, for his part, held her legs steady, his expression one of professional concentration. Remember when I didn't want to? Reba muttered under her breath, a knot of unease tightening in her stomach. Is that legal? I mean, sir. Jordan, overhearing her, smiled patiently. It's critical to stretch the muscles out before you exercise them. Otherwise, you could really hurt something. Yeah, Barbara Jean chimed in, her legs still perched precariously on Jordan's shoulder. Turn over. Reba, you need to watch this one. This one is my favorite. Reba watched, horrified, as Barbara Jean flipped onto her stomach, and Jordan, with a practiced ease, positioned himself to stretch her back. His hands, strong and calloused, moved with a surprising gentleness, pressing and guiding. Now, this gives a good stretch to the back and chest muscles, Jordan explained, his voice calm and really should do this once a day. Barbara Jean sighed contentedly. Oh, I'd do it all day if I could. Reba's eyes darted between Jordan's focused face and Barbara Jean's blissful expression. Her mind reeled. This was exactly what Brock had feared. The intimacy, the physical contact, the undeniable connection. You know, is this one of these, gyms that have the heat on real high? Reba stammered, feeling a bead of sweat trickle down her temple. I'm sweating. Okay, Jordan said, finally releasing Barbara Jean, who stretched luxuriously. Time for some weight. Oh, good, Reba muttered, relief washing over her. That's enough of that stretching. She needed to get out of there, to process what she had seen. But Barbara Jean was already pulling her towards the weights. Hello. Okay, knock this out. Yeah, okay. Barbara Jean was practically vibrating with excitement. Reba watched, her mind in a fog, as Barbara Jean lifted weights, Jordan spotting her, their bodies in close proximity, their movements synchronized. It was a dance, an intimate performance that spoke of trust and connection. You know, Reba finally said, her voice strained. I think I've seen enough. She needed to escape, to breathe, to figure out how to tell Brock what she had witnessed without completely shattering his world. Barbara Jean, however, was still glowing, her face radiant with health and happiness. So, what do you think? You have any interest in getting a personal trainer? Reba forced a smile, a sarcastic retort already forming on her lips. Only if he takes me out to dinner first. Barbara Jean giggled, oblivious. Are you sure, Reba? Seriously, this is one of the best relationships I've ever had. Reba's smile tightened. I think Jordan has his hands full with you. She glanced at Jordan, who was now helping another client, a woman built like a brick house. Oh, you're a beginner, Reba, Barbara Jean said, dismissing her. You'll start with ... she called out, and the brick house woman turned, a formidable presence. Yeah, this is Reba. She seems a little tense. I'd spend some extra time on the stretching. Dot. A woman who looked like she could bench press a small car advanced towards Reba with a predatory grin. Hey! Dot grunted, her eyes assessing Reba's frame. Get down there. Reba swallowed hard, her mind racing. She had seen enough, more than enough, and what she had seen confirmed Brock's worst fears and ignited a few of her own. Chapter 5. The Confession and the Revelation. Reba practically flew out of the gym. The scent of sweat and the image of Barbara Jean's leg over Jordan's head burned into her memory. Her heart pounded a frantic drumbeat against her ribs. She had gone in hoping to debunk Brock's suspicions, to reassure him that his wife was faithful. But what she had witnessed had done the exact opposite. The intimacy, the laughter, the casual physical contact, it all painted a picture of a relationship that went beyond the professional. She burst through the front door of her house, where Brock was pacing anxiously, running a hand through his hair. Ben and Van were glued to the TV, but their eyes flickered to Reba, sensing the tension radiating from her. So, did you see him? Brock demanded, rushing towards her, his voice a desperate whisper. What's he like? Is he little? Could I take him? Reba stared at him, trying to compose herself, to find the right words. He's big, but he's not as big as Dot. Brock blinked, confused. Dot. Reba waved a dismissive hand. Doesn't matter. So, what do you think? Is there something going on there? Reba took a deep breath, the weight of her observations pressing down on her. She had to be honest, as painful as it might be. Look, Brock, I was hoping that I could go down to the gym and check things out and come back and tell you that there's nothing to worry about. Brock's face fell, his eyes wide with dread. That's it. Reba, come on. Reba sighed, running a hand through her hair. Okay. I don't know if they're having an affair or not, but if they keep working out like that, they might be having a baby. The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. Brock staggered back, as if physically struck. His face went pale, his jaw slack. Man, I knew there was something going on. Just then, the front door opened again, and Barbara Jean, radiating post-workout glow, stepped inside. She paused, sensing the palpable tension in the room. Hey everybody, I'm here. And I'm saying, well, she trailed off, her eyes sweeping over the grim faces of Reba and Brock. Oh, hi, hun. Brock's head snapped up, his eyes blazing with a mixture of hurt and betrayal. Don't you hi honey me? Barbara Jean's smile faltered. What are you talking about? Did you honestly think that I wouldn't find out about you and Jordan? Brock demanded, his voice rising, laced with anger and pain. Barbara Jean blinked, genuinely confused. What? We were working out. It was perfectly innocent. She turned to Reba, a plea in her eyes. Reba, tell him what you saw. Reba shifted uncomfortably, caught in the crossfire. I don't want to get involved. She paused, then added under her breath, any more than I already am. She said you're having an affair, Brock stated, his voice trembling with accusation. Barbara Jean stared at him, then at Reba, a slow, incredulous realization dawning on her face. Then, she burst out laughing, a loud, almost hysterical sound that echoed through the room. Okay, Jordan and I are not having an affair, she declared, wiping a tear from her eye. He's gay. Silence. A stunned, absolute silence descended upon the room. Brock's mouth hung open. Ben and Van, who had been pretending to watch TV, snapped their heads around. What? Brock finally managed, his voice a strangled whisper. Barbara Jean, still chuckling, turned to Reba. Reba, do you honestly think I would let a straight man grab my breasts? Brock gasped, his face reddening. Excuse me, he grabbed your breasts. He's gay, Barbara Jean reiterated, as if that explained everything. He wasn't touching them, he was arranging them. Reba closed her eyes, a wave of relief, mixed with profound embarrassment, washing over her. Of course, the fellas, the puppies, it all made sense now. The professional intimacy, the casual touch, the complete lack of romantic tension. Okay, then, Reba said, opening her eyes, a weary smile on her face. Everything's fine, carry on with your lives. But Barbara Jean wasn't finished. Her laughter had faded, replaced by a hurt, almost angry expression. She turned to Reba, her eyes blazing. No, Reba, everything is not fine. I had no idea you were so threatened by the new me. The slim waist, the toned legs, The fellas. She potato.